Right. I want to call your attention to this. This is a discussion that's going on right now on TV about the company A4E. Yeah. So the government create these lovely, well, the government pay for these lovely schemes which get people back into work, or are supposed to get people back into work. It's just to make government figures look good. Because when 100 people get put onto this thing, that's 100 less people classed as unemployed. They are now classed as in training. Like me, I'm currently one myself. And I have been to A3, and I've been to ITEC, and I've been to TNG, and I've been to India's, and to all these other government work programs. And I can quite categorically tell you, right, that they're all a load of bollocks. They really are. They are utter bullshit. Schemes create, and they all do they all do different things, but there's some things that they do that's the same. Like they'll sort of CV out, they do like mock interviews and like courses about writing application forms, and they'll try and get you to send out shitloads of spec letters that never get answered, and then they complain at you about it. Like it's not your fault that they're not answered. It's just the company gets so many of them from all these people that they make send them out. In particular, A4E or A4E or Action for Employment or whatever the fuck it's called. I thought it was shut down, but it's apparently still open. In particular, when I went there, they were very pushy. See, it worked on the basis whereas if they got you a job, they get like some kind of bonus. So it wasn't individually tailored to each person like they claimed. They just wanted to get everyone a job just so they could get money, basically. And so they would push you into jobs that they knew you didn't want. And the whole point of going there was that you got jobs that you wanted and that you could do. Whereas they'd be just pushing you into any job that they think you'd be good at or whatever. You know, just like as long as you've got a job, they're happy with it. They don't care. It got to the point with me that I just got pissed off with it because when I went there, I was looking for like retail-based jobs and possibly a bit of warehouse work or anything to do with IT IT or anything, you know, low level IT, not like technicians and shit, just like low level, you know, working with computers, fine. Basically, you know, data input and that sort of shit. Human resources, you know, administration, secretarial work. Yeah, I mean, male secretary, who gives a shit? We live in an anti-sexism world. Male secretary, fuck you. Then again, I'm quite sure the Secretary of Defence is a male. So, yeah, so basically that's the sort of job I went in there looking for, and they knew I was looking for that. But they were pushing me into all sorts of crap. And not just me, they was pushing everybody else into all sorts of crap. And one thing they quickly learned about me was that you don't push me into something I don't want to do. Because I won't do it, and all you'll do is piss me off. Now, we kept receiving, because we'd receive jobs, but like they will contact companies, or companies will contact them with certain jobs. And one of the most well-known ones that we used to work with was factory jobs. Working in factories, you know, line operatives, QA, whatever you want to call it. So we get 2 or 3 of them in like each week, because people always want people in the factories, don't we? And it's always through agencies, it's never directly for the factory or anything. And we all know what agencies are like. And one of the things that they used to say to us all was that you have to apply for any job you are physically capable of doing. Now, I'm physically capable of doing any fucking job in the world except weightlifting or something, because I'm not really a big strong guy. I'm quite physically capable of driving a forklift truck. I'm quite physically capable of driving a tractor. In fact, I can drive a tractor. But that's besides the point. And we had the advert about like physical capability versus qualifications. I raised that advert immediately. But yeah, they still wanted us to apply for these jobs. So whenever they got in one of these factory jobs, they'd expect us to apply for them. But they would only pick out a certain small group of us to go and apply for it. Not everyone, or everyone could do the job, but not everyone could apply for it. No, it's always the same, and they always pick the same people every time. It was me and these 3 other chaps. 3 of us were youngish guys, and one was like, what, 30-ish. And it was always us 4, and they'd always send us 4 out. And I raised that argument, because one time they went to send us off for one, and I told them to fuck off. Quite clearly in the middle of them. When they said, oh, we've got this job coming in, and we're going to do you, and Daryl, yeah, because they said all their names, they just go, you, and Daryl. It was like, this person's name, that person's name, this person's name, and Daryl. And I looked up from what I was doing, I was filling an application form in at the time, for a different job, and I just looked and went, you can fuck off. And he went, I'm sorry? And I looked up, and I very calmly said, you can fuck off. And then carried on. And he goes, are you refusing to go and apply for this job? And I said, yes, I am. And he said, fine, we'll notify the jobs at then, and your job seeking allowance will be stopped for a couple of weeks, and yeah, you'll be signed off, basically. So that's perfectly well and good, but just remember one thing. And he said, what's that then? And I said, after the 2-week or whatever sanction on my money, and the fact that I've been signed off, I have to sign on again. The minute I sign on again, your job centre's going to send me back here. And he says, yes, that follows. I said, I'm not going to be very happy that I've had to re-sign on, lose 2 weeks of money, and come back. And I will be incredibly pissed off by this. Incredibly pissed off by this. I said, you think I'm a bit difficult now. You wait until I come back. Well, suffice it to say, they told the job centre and I got signed off. I lost my money for 2 weeks. Below signed on, sorted it all out, and within 1 week of signing on again, they sent me back to A3, and Monday morning, the Monday that I started, Monday morning I walked through the doors just before 9 o'clock, and yeah, fucker did I let rip. And so, because I just got pissed off with it, and that these government sponsored fucking work program companies just don't work, because they're designed to make you, the general public, who aren't working, like the 10% apparently of, that's the official figures, but it's wrong, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The 10% or whatever of UK citizens that are not working, they put you all into these programs. But they could put as many of you onto these programs as they like. It's not going to help you get a job. It'll help you look for one, and you might be lucky to find one, and you might be lucky to keep it. But it's not going to help everyone get a job, for the simple reason that they're trying to help you get a job, trying to force you to get a job, when there still is only a limited amount of jobs that you can do. What they really need to do is make some kind of government scheme that will give you a shitload of training in whatever field you want, and help you into the work that you need. I mean, all I really needed when I went there was a bit of work experience. And, that's all I needed and that's all I wanted. I went there, I fucking allowed the job centre to send me there, on the understanding that all I needed when I got there was a bit of work experience. And when I got there, they tried to change my CV. They tried to they forced me to apply for all these fucking jobs that they knew I didn't want. And they also they forced me to apply for a couple of jobs that they knew I wouldn't get because I ain't got the experience or the qualifications or the driving license, but they still made me apply for them. Thick shits. And so, and as the time goes on, you guys get more and more pissed off with it. But what the government really needs to do is make companies take you on. I mean, they're trying to do that. They're offering companies money to take you on. It says a lot about you as a person when the government is paying your boss to have you work for them. Yeah, it really says a lot about you as a person. And there are some people I knew that went to some of these training places that couldn't even get voluntary work. So they couldn't even work for free. I mean, they could work for free, physically, and whatever, and they wanted to. They couldn't care less whether they were being paid or not. I fucking would. But it's like the companies would just say, no, you're not interested. But what, you're not interested in having someone do your work for you without even paying them? You're not interested in that? Well, fuck you. And so there became certain companies that I wouldn't work for, which made me getting the job a lot more difficult. And if a job came in for a particular company and I got asked or told, you didn't get asked, you get told to apply. And that's what pissed me off the most. Because you shouldn't tell people what to do, you should ask them. And if a job came in for one of the companies and I just decided I didn't want to apply for it and I got asked why, I fucking told them. And so all these so the reason they set these up is so that the amount of unemployed people, officially unemployed people, because there are official numbers and unofficial numbers, and the unofficial numbers are around about twice as much as the official numbers. So say officially by government standards, there are, let's pick a number, and it's not the correct number, let's pick a number, 5,000. Say there are 5,000 currently unemployed people. There'll be a further 3,500 on these government courses, which are classed as in training. They're unemployed, but they're classed as in training. That makes actually 8,500 unemployed people, not the 5,000 that the government are saying. Plus, there's a shitload of like illegal immigrants in the country, and they don't work and stuff, but they're not counted in the official standings because, as far as the government is concerned, they're not here. Even though they know they're here, what the fuck are they claiming money of the government? But that's besides the point. So there's all these things to try and get you into work. Even though that like you could send people on these fucking things all the time, it's not going to get them a job. Just 4 out of every 100 actually got a job and stayed in it. Well, that's about right, actually. I mean, the older people I saw going through the old A3 thing, I think out of 100, about 4 of them got a job. I got a job while I was there. I was working in a factory, but it wasn't them that got me the job. I got a job by myself. So if they claim some kind of bonus for me getting the job, then they can fuck off because they did not help at all. I went down to the company myself and I applied for the job. And I wish I hadn't. Because it was a foreign agency run by foreign people who suddenly decided that foreign workers were better than English workers. And so the English workers got less work. And so I was getting up at being up ready to go to work. I'd be like at the place ready to be taken down to the factories at like 5:30, and I'd be coming home again at 6:30 because they decided now they want to take you with us today. It's meant to be the first people that turn up for work in the morning got to go to work. So the best idea was to be there early if you wanted work every day. And I was mostly the earliest person there because I lived pretty much just up the street from where they were. But you know, it got to the point where they decided, no, we're just going to be more selective over who we take. And they took on more and more people. The whole time they were in business, they were still taking applications. So more and more people were signing up for the work, and they didn't have enough work to go around. So it became more selective when it seemed that less and less English people were going to work. I mean, I was still working, but I wasn't getting much work out of the 6 days that I turn up for work, because you don't work on the 7th day, you do it on a 6-day basis. Now the 6 days I turn up for work, I'll be looking to get work 2 days a week. And I was getting less money than I would be like on job seekers or whatever. So I just thought, fuck this then, it's not worth it. I'm not even earning enough to cover expenses, never mind like pay for food while at work and whatever. I barely making enough to pay for where I was living, which was at home, which cost surprisingly less than moving out, yet I still could only just afford to pay it. And of course, all the time I was working there, I was still looking for other jobs. I needed to keep the phone topped up and I wasn't able to do that, so I just thought, okay, I signed off. After work, I went back and signed on to the youth centre again. Who immediately sent me back to A4E, who complained at me because I'd left the job and come back. And I explained to them why I'd left the job. But it was their business, they didn't get me the job. I got the job off my own back. So it pissed me off. And of course I wasn't happy that they complained at me about something that wasn't their business. And so my relationship with the A4E staff and the whole A4E company became a bit more tense. And so yeah, I can honestly tell you that all these like government set up fucking companies that try to get you into work are all utter bollocks. I mean, I've had people fucking trying to rewrite my bloody CV that many sodding times that the last person that said they wanted to do it, I told them to fuck off. In plain English as well. It's like, fuck off. My CV is fine the way it is. And their reaction was, well, it obviously isn't fine the way it is because it hasn't got you a job, has it? And I said, well, yeah, but that's not my CV's fault. Which it wasn't. It's not my CV's fault at all. There's nothing wrong with my CV. However, I did take one person's advice. I think it was all the way back in ISIS, I think, which is it's not quite a into employment scheme. It's more of a get a bit of training type scheme, and I went on to that voluntarily because I wanted level 2 in maths. I didn't have time to get it while I was in school. Well, not in school, but yeah. So I went there voluntarily and I did my level 2 in maths. And while I was there, I got a bit of information from one of the people that were working there about making your CV stand out against the rest. And so upon taking that advice, I did one thing with my CV to make it stand out from the rest. I changed the font it was typed in. Everyone uses Times New Roman, or the other one, what's it called? Like Arial, I think. I know one of them's Times New Roman. I'm sure the other one's Arial. Yeah, so everyone uses them same two fonts. Mine is in the very posh Myriad Web Pro, which looks like when you hold it on next to someone else's, it's like, yeah, that's different. One time I did write it in Predator language, and I sent it off to a company who were very impressed with my use of different fonts, and it was applying for a games job, a games tester job, and they were very impressed, and they obviously worked out that they could just change the font back to Times New Roman or whatever, so they did that, and they read my CV, and they said back that my CV was quite impressive. It wasn't impressive as like what I'd done and what training I'd got and stuff, but the fact that I'd sent it in Predator language, that they said they were quite impressed with how I'd done that, and it was quite an original thing to do. No one had ever done it before. They didn't offer me the job back. And one of my most favourite things to joke about is, and it's actually a true story as well, is while I was at I think it was A3, I suddenly got this idea into my head, which wasn't helped by my parents at all, especially my mum. I suddenly got this idea in my head that I wanted to be an assassin. And Mum went, well, if that's the job you want, go for it. So I thought, fuck that then. So I got the internet and I got the email address of MI6. And I sent an email off to MI6 in a professional manner, saying that I wanted to work for them as an assassin. And that ended up with them sending the police down to me to see if I was a complete nut job or something. But the thing that really got me, and this is the bit that I love telling everyone, they said that the way I wrote the email and the way I set the email out, as my application, with my attached CV and everything, the way I set it all out, had I been applying for any other job within the company, I'd have got the job. Just because of the way I set the email out. It was very professional, apparently. So when I left A3 and I went to TNG, Josh sent me off to TNG, who was like the next company that set up to do the same sort of thing. So you weren't in like a classroom situation, you just went there like once a week. They said to me, we want to put you on this course for applying for jobs. And I said, oh yeah, what does that entail then? And they said, well, you've got the whole application form right in, and the written typed application for a job. I said, well, I don't know about the application form side, but I think I'm fine on the written application side. And the woman said, why? Why would you say that? And I explained to her about the whole applying to be an assassin thing. And she thought it was quite funny as well. In fact, the whole fucking office laughed, which is good. It's good that people actually laugh at that. And she goes, well, why does that mean you're good at applying for jobs then? And I said, well, because they said to me that had I been applying for any other job within the company instead of an assassin, the way I sent the email out, I would have got the job. And she went, oh, well, put you on that one then. And it was great, and I love telling people that now, just because, like, whenever someone says to me, how good are you with application writing, I just reply to them, well, I nearly got a job as an assassin at MI6, so it's great, it really is. But yeah, going back to my point, these government schemes just don't work at all. In fact, the whole time I was at A3, it was just funding my creativity, because I went to the same A3 company in the same office 4 different times, I think. Or was it 5? So yeah, I've been unemployed for a long time. I went to the same one like 4 or 5 times, and they always take me on the same tour of the buildings. And what I pointed out, not the first time, but I pointed out the first time as well. But I pointed out the rest of the times, just because there's new people on the tour, gives you a chance to say the same things again. They took us around and they showed us the fire extinguishers, right? And they told us where each one was and what it combats. This one's powder, this one's water, this one's H2O. There's a water one and electrics and that. And I would always pipe up on all the occasions, why are you telling us about fire extinguishers? And the tour guide would say why. And I'd quite clearly say back in a very rehearsed way, because I just said the same thing every single time. In the event of a fire, it was written in the reception, in the event of a fire, leave the building as quickly as possible. Quickly, calmly, close all doors behind you, don't stop to pick up belongings, that sort of shit. But it's like, it didn't say it, and it says underneath, do not attempt to fight the fire yourself. In perfect red letters, do not attempt to fight the fire. And then do not re-enter the building until the fire's been dealt with. So I'll clearly point out that the sign says, leave the building quickly and calmly, closing all doors behind you, using the safest escape route. Do not attempt to fight the fire yourself. So why are you telling us about all these fire extinguishers? Because we're not going to be able to use them. Because if there's a fire, we're not going to be able to stop, pick them up and use them, because we'll be getting out of the building. And they could never answer that question. And that, really, for me, really points out the futility and the stupidity of these schemes. Because they're designed to be not more intelligent than you, but they appear to be, they're supposed to appear to be a bit more business-minded than you. But they can't answer a simple question about fire extinguishers. And that's what always got me. And so, I used to love going back there and being on the first day back, because they do the tour when I point out the fire extinguisher thing. And they say, when you've got this one, always make sure you know where you're going in case there's a fire. And I would always say, they'll be pointing out like, this is a fire escape, that's a fire escape, you've got the main front door through the reception area. And I would just say, well, if the fire's if there's that much of a big problem of fire, I'll just be out the nearest window. And that used to make everyone laugh as well. Especially the fact that there weren't that many windows in the building. I'll go up onto the roof and fucking climb my way down. Because you can get up onto the roof from the inside. But yeah, so it always used to make me laugh. And then due to like that health and safety, I don't know who came up with this idea. This was hilarious. They decided that you weren't allowed to use the kettle. You're allowed to use the kettle because of health and safety. I don't know who came up with it. I don't think it was Emma Harrison, the winner of A3. I think it's just one of the high up idiots who just thought, yeah. So they just decided that we couldn't use the kettle anymore for a while. So if we wanted a cup of coffee or whatever, we had to let someone else do it. And I was one of the first people that put it out. It was sat in the middle of the classroom because they said this, and for a couple of days, like people were sort of like talking about it and whatever. And someone went out into the kitchen, like one of the new guys that had come in, went out into the kitchen, meant to have a cup of coffee and came back and sat down. And the trainer pointed out, because we call them trainers, not tutors or teachers or whatever, pointed out, you're putting on use the kettle. It's like the third day of me being told, of me hearing people being told that you're not allowed to use the kettle. And I just sat there in the middle of the room, and I said, how many people in this room use a kettle at home? Quick show of hands. So I put my hand up. And everyone around the entire room put their hand up. And I said, all those people who put their hand up, which is the whole bloody room, how many of you, how long have you been using this kettle for? And of course, like, being my age, I was, 21, I've been using it since I was about 15. Excuse me, before then, probably, but I can't remember that far back. So I just said that I've been using 6 years. And this was a certain amount of years each time. And I said, have any of you ever had an accident while using the kettle? One person in the room had. He picked up this kettle and the handle was loose. The metal kettle. And the handle was just like welded on. And the handle snapped off and he dropped the hot water all over the floor. Basically. Didn't hurt himself or anything, just half flooded the place. I said, so apart from that, then no one else has had an accident with the kettle. And they said, no. I said, well, statistically, more accidents occur in the home. And if any of us have an accident with a kettle, there's probably going to be a... And then I said to the guy that dropped it, you're probably fine because you've already had the accident. And he goes, well, no. And he thought it was funny. So I said, why have the high-up idiots of this company suddenly decided that we can't use the kettle anymore for health and safety reasons? We've all used the kettle for at least 6 years and never really had any problems. And I put this proposal forward to the high-up people in the company. I don't know whether they went on my comments or whether other people complained as well, or whether they just decided that this is stupid. But after a couple more days, we were all allowed to use the kettle again. And so this is how stupid these companies are. And they're very politically correct, these companies. And the one I'm with now, which is this India's company, one of their current policies that they've introduced is you're not allowed to wear caps or hats of any kind, or sunglasses, or wear your headphones, like your MP3 players or whatever, while in their time. Basically, while you're in their office, you can't have these on. And I have pointed out, well, I haven't pointed out, but I will point out, the minute they tell me to take my hat off, because it's one of the rules, I will point out, and I will quite clearly state, what I wear and where I wear it is down to me. One of my basic human rights is the freedom to do what I want, where I want, providing I'm not breaking the law. Now, unless it becomes a law, as in you could be arrested for wearing your hat in this fucking building, I'm going to wear my hat as much as I like, and you can't do anything about it. And if they say something like, I'm going to tell a jump centre and have you sign off, I'll say, can you imagine how stupid that's going to look? You had someone signed off because they were wearing a hat. You're going to look like a right bunch of thick shits, aren't you? Did you sign this person off because he wouldn't apply for a job? No, we signed him off because he was wearing a hat. I wonder if that includes them hat things that Muslims wear, you know, and ones that only leave the little slit for the eyes. Not that I see that many unemployed Muslims. Plus, isn't it just the women that wear them? And they can't go out unless they're escorted by a man, so you probably never going to see one anyway. But just for saying sake, they end up going to one of these Muslims. Oh God, how would they go to that? I'm sorry, husband. I have to go. Where's I get no money? You cannot go out without a male escort. Well, I've got to go, so bye. Just laugh about it. No. Yeah, say one of them is going to do it. I'm going to tell her to take a thing off. I can't remember what they're called. I'm sure they're called burkas. Are they called burkas? The thing with the head? I don't know. If you know what it is, tell me. But if it is a burqa, then I've just got this weird piece of information in my head of what a burqa is. But yeah, so are they going to say to her when she walks in, I'm sorry, you can't wear that? No! Because that's a religious thing. And that's classed as discrimination. You can't wear that. Oh, sorry, that's discrimination. Which means then, if she can still wear what she wants to wear, whether it's a religious thing or not, I can still wear what I want to wear, whether it's a religious thing or not. And I might start turning up wearing a cap that's got a fucking big Jesus on the front of it. That'd be fun, because I'm not a religious person. But yeah, I mean, you can imagine that, you know. Sorry, you're not allowed to wear that in here. You wouldn't wear it at work, would you? I don't know. I mean, would they wear it at work? I've never seen a female wearing one of them while at work, because I've never seen one at work. But I mean, yeah. But let's not get into the discussion of Muslims, because that's a completely different video, which I might also make after this one. So yeah, basically, these companies do not work, and they never will, for the simple reason that you can try and force everyone to get a job as much as you like, but what you really need to be doing is forcing the companies to give people jobs. I've applied recently for 4 jobs that I know I can do, that I'm physically capable of doing. They all say they offer training, but I haven't got the jobs. One of them I've got enough experience for, but all of them I've got appropriate qualifications, you know, like I've got a good understanding of maths and stuff, you know, like the equivalent of a GCSE grade, whatever, in English and whatever. But all 4 of them jobs I never got. And none of them would tell me why, despite my repeated asking. And these government companies will encourage you to ask why you didn't get a job. That's going to help. Oh yeah, well, if you find out what you did wrong, it might help you get a job next time. They didn't do anything wrong. They don't take the application form perfectly, they just send it into the right place. Or did it on the phone in the right way or whatever, all this fucking bollocks. So if I didn't get a job, it's not my fault. It's their fault. Because the company suddenly decided, well, all 4 of these companies must have decided that I wasn't the person they were looking for. Yeah, 3 out of 4 of those jobs I was perfect for, and 1 I was marginally okay for. But I didn't get any of them. And so, like, I'm on one of these government schemes, you know, designed to force me into work. and I apply for 4 jobs that I should be able to get just like that, and I don't get them. And the job centre and this bloody scheme thing look at me as if I've done something wrong, or as if I'm lying when I say that they won't tell me why I didn't get a job. They're like, well, you can follow it up then. Did follow it up, they won't fucking tell me. And they look at you as if you're such a liar, as though you really can't be asked to get a job. It is your fault you're unemployed. It's not my fault I'm unemployed at all. It's the fucking government and the fucking companies and the fucking illegal immigrants, and even the legal immigrants. I mean, let's face it. And then you've got the whole equal opportunities culture. I mean, I agree with the whole equal opportunities culture. If you've got a slight mental disability or physical disability, you have every right to be able to get a job as much as me. I don't dispute that. In fact, I think it's a good thing. Because you've got a lot of these disabled people that say, I want a job, whether I'm like this or not, I want a job. And the fact that they can now get one is good. I think that's great. It really is. But they are then placed, the bad thing about it is they are placed higher in the job ranking than me. And I think I've explained this in some previous videos before. It goes the unofficial standing, because no one official will actually agree that this is correct. But basically, unofficially, it goes foreigners, disabled people, older people, then it's old people, young people, women, men. So if you're a young, perfectly able English man, you've got less chance of getting a job than a young, perfectly able English woman. And if you're a young, perfectly able English man, you are less likely to get a job than a young, perfectly able Polish man. And a young Down syndrome English man still has less chance of getting a job than a young, perfectly able Latvian woman. And that's pretty much how the hierarchy goes. So I'm all the way at the bottom. So the chances of me getting a job are terrible. And as I get older, as I push 30, my chances of getting a job will leap up a few steps on the ladder. So they'll be above the young people and the old people. But, like, a girl of similar age will more likely get a job than me. Because a girl like this, you can sue for being racist. I didn't get a job because I was foreign. You can sue for being disabled. I didn't get a job because I was disabled. You can sue for being a woman. You didn't get a job because I'm female. You can't really sue for being male, or for being perfectly able, or for being English. Oh, you didn't give me this job because I'm English. I'm taking you to court. It just doesn't. It never gets done, does it? You didn't give me this job because I'm a man. I'm taking you to court. It's never done. You didn't give me this job because I'm not disabled. You don't say that either, do you? But you can sue for all the other things, basically. And due to political correctness, and equal opportunities, and due to the whole I can sue you for no reason culture that's going around at the minute, companies don't want the hassle, so they're more likely to give a job to a foreigner, a disabled person, or a woman over me anytime. And so, yeah, I understand I'm at the bottom rung of the employability ladder. I understand I'm probably not going to move up that ladder until about 5 years from now, when I'll be classed as a regular person, not a young person. Because for some reason they count young people now as being 18 to 25. So next year I should be better at getting a job, because by the end of this year I will turn 25 and I will leave the 18. I was thinking 18, 25 back then. So at the end of next year, when I turn 26, when I will stop being in the 18 to 25 young person bracket, and I'll move into the next bracket, which is 26 to 35, I think. And I've probably got more chance of getting a job then. And if I've got one before that, it'd be a fucking miracle. But these government schemes and the job centre and the government and everyone, they just don't get it. They bring all these like rules and things in about diversity and equal opportunities and whatever, but they don't realise the impact it's going to cause, that it's going to have on the general population. I mean, one of the things I definitely do not agree with is foreign police officers. Now, obviously, the police needs as many people as it can get. No one's disputing that. I mean, look at the farce of the 2012 Olympics. I mean, towards the beginning of this year, and towards the end of last year, this is 2012 now, towards the end of 2011 and the start of 2012, they started laying off police officers from everywhere. And then they realised, coming up to the 2012 Olympics, that they're going to need a shitload of people to work at the 2012 Olympics. So they started trying to call up volunteers. So I don't know whether they actually managed it or not, or whether like calling them as the army or whatever, because I didn't really watch it and they didn't really go either. So it didn't really bother me, I didn't give a toss. Whether they had enough cops or not for the job, they should lay them all off something. And but when you start taking on foreign people into the police force, you're doing three things. One, you are promoting the equality and diversity thing, which is good, how that goes. But the other things two things you're doing are bad. Because if there's one thing that we can categorically say about this country, is that all the English people hate the foreign people. And all the foreign people hate the English people. So you get a foreign police officer coming to arrest you, then that's just going to kick off. Plus, with the whole anti-racism thing that's going on, and equality and diversity and whatever, I've noticed that they don't send these foreign police officers out without a English partner. Because if they sent out just the one foreign guy, or two foreign guys, then they could say that this person they were arrested was being racially abusive. Even if he's not. And who are you going to believe? The person that's just been arrested, or the two cops? And so that means that more people can be done for racial stuff than for non-racial stuff. And the other problem with it is the whole racially motivated crime in the first place, which I think I've previously mentioned in videos. Where a foreigner punches you in the face, that's just assault. But if you punch him in the face instead, that's racially motivated assault, and you will have more drinking you for it than he would to him. Yeah. Hopefully a good thing about putting foreign people into the police force will mean that there'll be less racially motivated crime pointed at the English guys and a bit more pointed at foreign guys. Because I've seen people being attacked by foreign guys because they're English. It is a racially motivated attack, but it's not classed as that because it's a foreign guy hitting an English guy. That's perfectly fine. It's just assault. I've seen a white guy punch a Latvian, I think, sure it's a Latvian, because the Latvian stole his phone. So basically, you punched him because he stole his phone. Yet, when he was arrested, that was classed as racially motivated assault. No, fucker stole my phone, so I punched him. Is basically the explanation this guy gave. And his mates all said the same. And even the foreigners' mates said the same. But no, we still got done for racially motivated assault, and that's the way today's society works. And it's on the basis of that society, and the whole thing, and that's one bad idea, and this whole getting people into work using government-appointed schemes is another bad idea. So we can all honestly say that everything the government does nowadays is a bad idea. And in fact, the only good idea the government could ever do is disband themselves and let the Queen run the country again. Because Britain, or England, sorry, it's another fucking equal opportunities political correct bollocks, isn't it? Britain now, if you're not English, you're British. I'm fucking English still. Comes to application form, it says nationality, it says like white British, white Irish. I seek other, and I put white English. And I've been asked in interviews, why did you put English? And I say, because I'm English, not British. I was born in England. I'm of English descent, direct descent. My ancestors were Irish though, so yeah. Irish. There. Irish Jew. Yeah, and I've often put it out after application forms that I'm English, not British. And quite nice actually. And the whole thing is just bloody stupid. But they still would like to, they still do these things that are stupid ideas, and like trying to get you involved in them. And it's just bloody pointless. It really is. And I hope you'll agree that this whole government employability scheme thing isn't a load of bullshit. If you've been on one of these government schemes, please let me know whether you found it helpful or not. And be specific, like if you said you found it helpful, what parts did you find helpful or what parts did you not find helpful? And yeah, so get in touch and we'll see what sort of response we get from this. So if you've been to iTech, A3, Injas or TNG, did any of them help you? And if so, or if not, how and why? I thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again quite soon.